Morning, guys. This is Greg. Welcome to Buckeye Freight Railing down here in Miamisburg, Ohio. House on the hill. That's the CSX tracks behind me, and in front of me is the Norfolk Southern tracks. I'll show in a little bit. Hopefully we get a Norfolk Southern, but I've been here 2.5 hours and finally got my first train coming south. So first train at all, actually. But all right, guys. Appreciate you watching. I think this is 561 coming south. Thanks. All right, if this is 561, he's Selkirk, New York to Cincinnati. Might have some trash hoppers on here. Okay, that was not 561. I thought I heard 61 in his transmission, but I may be wrong. It could be 361, but they would be rerouting him because I believe he comes off of the Indy sub from Avon, Indiana. I'll have to listen to the radio when he goes through the DDs down here. Maybe I can hear him, maybe I can't. Anyway, it's good mixed freight flying through here. Thanks for watching. All right, here comes I-141, Walbridge, Ohio to Louisville, Kentucky. Coming at you. Going to get a long shot on this one. He'll be half intermodal and half auto racks. All right, I-141 heading south. I think I heard there's a northbound stopped on the main down there in Carlisle, so may get him next. This is the Norfolk Southern Dayton district. And I saw a train go through Columbus about 45 minutes ago, so maybe another hour we'll get a Norfolk Southern coming from that direction. This line runs east and west, even though it's more like diagonal east and west. Till it gets up to Springfield, and then it goes directly east toward Columbus. All right, thank you for watching. All right, folks, we've got B651 coming down. He's Bensonville, Illinois to Charlotte, North Carolina, and he's a loaded ethanol train. Sometimes he runs what we call foreign power on the front. Let's see if he's got anything. Coming at you. Oh yeah. How about that? Yeah. Was that a Sioux line as the buffer car on the end too? Had one on the front and one on the end there. All right, Southern Belle in the lead, CP in the end, on the tail. I'll take it. That's the third train in 5 hours. I don't know what's going on. All right, guys, thanks for watching. All right, folks, got M558 coming up now. Cincinnati to Walbridge, Ohio. Coming at you. line. Right, a few rolling relics on there, Sioux line, and I don't know if you noticed, but there were some of those old cylindrical grainers. A couple of those on there too. All right, I'd like to get one more train. We'll find out. Stay tuned. Isn't that a beautiful walnut tree right there? Always liked that tree. It's the last one to get its leaves and the first one to drop them. All right, we got M558 coming up. That last train was M510, and I was mistaken, but this one is 558. And he's coming at you. He's a shorty. That's a short M558. Train before him, like I said, was M510. He is now Louisville to Detroit instead of Cincinnati to Detroit. It's hard to keep up with all these symbol changes they're doing. But yeah, I think that's a pretty tree right there. All right. Thanks for watching. All right, finally got a Norfolk Southern train coming west. Norfolk Southern 179. Coming at you. There you go, NS 171. I've been waiting a while for him. He's had a green light for over an hour. All right, I'm beginning to think one engine was pulling this whole train, and then I saw the two mid DPEs coming up. All right, guys, I'm going home. It's hot. I've been here all day. I appreciate you watching though. Like, share, subscribe, just helps me out. Doesn't cost you a thing. We'll see you tomorrow. Hope you had a good 4th of July.